My sister didn't invite me to her wedding, but she invited all my friends. What they did shattered her illusions forever. I debated for a long time whether I should even write this. But after everything that happened, I feel like I need to get it off my chest. This story isn't about revenge. It's about boundaries. About how you can spend years being the easy one, the convenient one. And the moment you stop, you suddenly become the villain in your own family. I'm the oldest child in my family. From a very young age, I was responsible for my younger sister. Let's call her Mila. Our parents worked long hours, so I basically became a third parent in the house. I cleaned, helped Mila with homework, walked her home from school, read her bedtime stories. I didn't complain. Back then, it felt normal. Like that was just how things were supposed to be. The problem started when Mila got older and her personality really began to show. She was blunt, rude, and hid behind the excuse of being honest. She would say hurtful things straight to people's faces and genuinely not understand why they got upset. And every single time that happened, I was the one who got blamed. My parents insisted that I take her everywhere with me. If I went out with friends, Mila came too. If I was invited to a birthday party, I had to bring Mila along. One incident still stands out clearly in my memory. We were at my close friend's 13th birthday party. She opened a gift from her grandparents, a Barbie dollhouse, and she was genuinely happy. And then Mila started giggling and said, "Wow, that's a stupid gift." I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. When I told my parents about it, they didn't support me. They said I needed to be a good sister and stop being embarrassed by Mila in front of others. Over time, this became the pattern. Mila was rude, I apologized. Mila had no friends, I had to share mine. Mila crossed boundaries, I was expected to tolerate it. As I got older, I started pushing back. I said I wanted my own life. In response, I was called selfish and accused of trying to exclude my sister. At school, Mila often sat alone at lunch. My parents made me sit with her. I hated it, but I stayed quiet. Everything changed when I got accepted into a college in another city. I left despite my mother's tears and warnings that Mila wouldn't be able to cope without me. For the first time in my life, I felt free. My sister and I barely spoke after that, and honestly, it worked for both of us. During my final year of college, I came home for a high school reunion. When Mila found out, she said she was coming with me. For the first time ever, I said firmly, "No, this isn't your event." I thought that would finally be the end of it. I was wrong. Mila showed up to the reunion uninvited. She walked into the restaurant and sat down at our table. My friends were visibly uncomfortable. The entire vibe shifted. I asked them directly, "Are you comfortable with her being here?" A few of them honestly said no. Mila left in tears, glaring at me with pure hatred in her eyes. When I got home, my parents blamed me. That was the breaking point. We stopped speaking. Years later, I got married. My parents pressured me into inviting Mila, for the sake of the family. I agreed, but I didn't let her be part of the wedding party. Then Mila got married herself. And that's when things got truly bizarre. She didn't invite me, but she invited all of my friends from school. They were shocked. They asked if I was going. I told them the truth. I hadn't been invited. On the day of her wedding, I was at the beach with my husband and child. My phone was off. That evening, I came back to dozens of messages. The last one was from Mila, with a photo attached. In the photo, my friends were wearing completely outrageous outfits. Bright dresses, feather boas, hats. It looked like a costume party. Mila accused me of running her wedding. I had no idea what was happening. When I spoke to my friends, they admitted the truth. This was their way of making it clear that they were not her friends, and that they were disgusted by how she had treated me for years. They messaged her themselves and took full responsibility. But Mila still blamed me. My parents took her side. And that's when I finally did what I should have done a long time ago. I would no contact. A few months passed. I started therapy. For the first time, I felt peace. I stopped trying to save grown adults. And you know what? My world didn't fall apart. Update 1. I found out what really happened after the wedding. Thank you to everyone who commented and showed support. I honestly didn't expect this response. Many of you asked for an update, and unfortunately I have one. After posting, I tried to stay out of the drama. But it turns out the wedding fallout was just the beginning. A few days later, one of my friends, the one in the bright dress with the boa, messaged me and asked if I was ready to hear what really happened. They hadn't wanted to hurt me with the details at first. I said yes. According to them, Mila was tense even before the ceremony. She made several public jokes about how it's good certain people aren't here, clearly referring to me. Some guests looked uncomfortable, knowing I was her sister. When my friends showed up in their outfits, Mila initially thought they were trying to steal attention. She pretended everything was fine, but it quickly spiraled. Her husband, Mark, asked whether she had specified a dress code. She hadn't. Someone joked that maybe it was a themed wedding, and laughter spread through the room. At some point, Mila completely lost it. She yelled at the wedding coordinator, snapped at the photographer, and demanded that my friends not be photographed with her. Then came the key moment. Several guests from Mark's side asked outright why her sister wasn't there, yet all of my friends were. Mila couldn't give a straight answer. She stumbled through vague explanations about complicated relationships and looked caught in a lie. After the wedding, Mark had a serious conversation with her. For the first time, he heard a version of our relationship that didn't come from Mila, and he didn't like what he heard. That's when Mila started calling me and my parents nonstop, accusing me of turning everyone against her, even though I wasn't even there. The next day, my mom called. Not to apologize. She said Mila was hysterical, her honeymoon was ruined, and that as the older sister, I needed to fix this. For the first time in my life, I answered calmly. No, I'm not fixing anything. This isn't my responsibility. She hung up. It's been a week since then. Mila blocked me. My parents aren't speaking to me. And honestly, I feel relief, not guilt. For the first time, I'm not rushing in to clean up a mess I didn't create. Update 2. My parents went on the offensive. About 2 weeks passed after my last update. I focused on my own family and kept my distance. But as many of you predicted, it didn't end there. My parents reached out again. At first, the messages were neutral. How are you? We're worried. Can we talk? I didn't respond for days. For once, I didn't feel obligated to explain myself. When we finally spoke, it became clear very quickly what they wanted. They told me Mila was suffering, that she wasn't sleeping, that she was crying constantly, and that her marriage had started under a cloud. They insisted that even if I wasn't technically at fault, I was morally responsible, because they're your friends. I repeated what I'd already said. I didn't ask them to do anything. I didn't even know. That's when the tone shifted. My mother said I'd always been emotionally cold toward Mila. My father said I'd never really accepted her. And of course, the classic line came out. You're the older one. You should be wiser. In that moment, I realized nothing had changed. No matter what happened, I would always be the one at fault. I told them calmly that I was done participating in this dynamic, that I wouldn't apologize for something I didn't do, and that I needed distance. My mother cried. My father said I was destroying the family. They stopped messaging me for a while. Update 3. What I never expected from Mila's husband. This update surprised me the most. A few days later, Mark messaged me. We barely spoken before, so it caught me off guard. He asked if we could talk. I hesitated but agreed. The conversation was strange and incredibly revealing. Mark said he'd been hearing conflicting versions of events from different people, that he felt like he only knew one side of the story and wanted to hear another, calmly, without accusations. I didn't demonize Mila. I just shared facts about our childhood, the responsibility, the lack of boundaries, years of being forced to be convenient. He listened quietly. Then he said something I can't stop thinking about. She never told me any of this. He admitted that Mila had framed things as if I'd cut her off for no reason, that I was jealous, bitter, unwilling to be part of her life. After the wedding and the reactions from guests, he started questioning that narrative. He didn't ask me to fix anything. He didn't push for reconciliation. He thanked me for being honest and said he had a lot to think about. After that call, I felt both relieved and sad. Relieved that someone on their side finally heard me. Sad because I knew it still wouldn't change my family. Right now, I'm keeping my distance from everyone. I haven't blocked my parents, but I don't initiate contact. I'm completely no contact with Mila. And for the first time, I don't feel like I'm doing something wrong. Final update, I'm done being convenient. Several months have passed since my first post. The noise has died down, and I've finally been able to look at everything from a distance. The most important thing is this: I no longer feel the need to explain myself. After my last conversation with my parents, I realized a painful truth. They aren't looking for the truth, they're looking for a comfortable version of reality, where everyone stays in their assigned role. And in that system, I was always expected to bend. I'm done playing that role. I started therapy, not because something was wrong with me, but because I spent years carrying guilt for other people's emotions. Therapy helped me see how deeply I'd internalized the belief, if everyone is upset, it must be my fault. It wasn't. I didn't destroy the family. I didn't ruin a wedding. I'm not responsible for other people's choices. All I did was stop staying silent and stop rescuing. I don't speak to Mila anymore, and honestly, it no longer hurts. For the first time, I've accepted that closeness can't exist without respect, even between sisters. Mark hasn't contacted me again. I'm not seeking that connection. Their marriage is not my responsibility. As for my parents, the door is open, but not wide. I'm willing to talk only if I'm heard, not used as a convenient target. If that never happens, I accept that too. My life is quieter now. Simpler. More honest. I no longer live in constant tension. I don't rehearse conversations in my head. I don't brace myself for the next call that will leave me in pieces. I live with my own family. With people who don't require me to be smaller, quieter, or more convenient. And if anyone reading this is wondering whether it's worth setting boundaries, I'll say this. Sometimes the most painful decision is also the most freeing. Silence can keep a family together, but truth is what keeps you whole.